Hi everyone, it's Trishna. So I want to talk to you about the law of attraction because I've noticed on my personal manifestation journey that no matter what it is that I'm trying to manifest in my life, whether it's abundance or a relationship or trying to hone in more on my purpose or find my passions, no matter what it is, I've noticed that there are 7 blocks that tend to show up regardless of what I am trying to bring into my life. And so I wanted to share with you what those 7 blocks are so that whatever you are trying to bring into your life that just isn't coming into your life, this will give you a hint at maybe some things that you can release, some things that you can heal on so that you can open up the path to your manifestation and pull it in towards you that much faster. So if you've been watching my law of attraction videos on this channel for a little while now, you'll notice that I'm really big on making peace with your situation as it is and identifying what blocks you have and healing and releasing those blocks so that you can clear the path for your manifestation to come right to you. And I hope I don't jinx myself by saying this, but I have attracted 95% of everything that I want in my life. I have an amazing job, I have the abundance and the finances, I have a brand new house, I have an amazing relationship, I'm currently planning my wedding. So every area of my life is going exceptionally well. I have really good connections with my friends. I'm doing a lot of self-growth work on myself and growing my own personal confidence and learning to set my own boundaries. So I have a lot of experience dealing with the blocks that can be in your way when you're trying to create your reality, and I really want to share what I have learned and what I've experienced with you. So that is the point of this video. So let's get into the 7 common blocks that you will find in almost anything that you are trying to manifest. So one of the biggest blocks that will show up almost anytime you really desire something is a tendency to obsess over that desire and need it to happen. When you have this need for a certain thing in your life to change or for something to come into your life that you don't currently have, that is essentially you focusing on the fact that you do not have it right now, and it becomes this obsessive kind of mindset. And if you have that, you're only going to hold your desire further away from you. So it's really important that you focus on that block, that you release that you focus on all the reasons why your life is perfect right now or why it's going really well right now, even though you don't have whatever it is that you want. When you can make peace with your life as it is, as if you will never get that desire, it will come to you that much faster. Along the lines of really focusing on your desire, a lot of times we don't believe we can have whatever it is that we want to have. When we're trying to use law of attraction to bring in a desire into our lives, a lot of times it's because we don't think we can do that with action. We feel like it's too far out there, there's way too much of a gap, it's too big for us to really bring into our lives at this point in time. And that's something that, again, you need to let go of, because there is nothing that you desire that you were not meant to desire. There is nothing that you desire that was not inspired by your higher self, by the divine. If the divine or the higher self didn't want you to have it, it wouldn't waste its time getting you to go chase after it. That's just wasted energy, and I've talked about this in several of my videos before. So try to figure out why do you believe you can't have what you want? Do you feel like you're not special enough? Well, if somebody else can have it, why not you? Do you believe that it's too hard, too out of your reach, something that you can't accomplish? Well, we're all here to learn. When we were young, when we were little babies, we didn't know how to walk, and yet we learned how to do that. So every step, and a lot of learning ends once school ends. When we're in school, we have to learn X, Y, Z. We have to study for all these tests. We have to sit down and memorize things that we don't want to memorize in order to get the grades that we want to get in school. Once we leave school and enter the workforce, we don't have to put in that much effort to learn new things. And so after a while, we get used to being in this mode where we don't remember how to learn, we don't remember how to memorize, but it's always been there. We were able to do it when we were like 5, when we were like 10. So of course we can do it now. So reconnect with your ability to learn. Remind yourself, hey, I used to be able to memorize X, Y, Z. I used to know all of this stuff. If I could know it then, I can know it now. If I could learn it then, I can learn something new now. So your ability to learn is always at your fingertips. It's always right there. Just know that everybody who is successful, everybody who has what you want to have, had to make that journey as well. They had to learn in order to achieve what they're able to achieve. So it's not out of the ordinary. It's not like you are dumber than anybody else. You are fully capable of learning what you need to learn to have whatever it is that you want to have. So remember, the universe would not instill in you a desire to have something if you weren't capable of being able to achieve it. Sometimes we don't even truly respect our desires. So think about whatever it is do you want. that you want. Do you respect it? A lot of times we want something, but we don't always respect it because we have other people's beliefs in our minds telling us that what we want isn't good enough, what we want isn't worth our time. So, for example, let's say you wanted to be an actor or an actress. And I use this example a lot because I have a client and friend who is an actress and we've been working on her journey together. So that's why a lot of times that's the example that comes to mind. So let's say you want to be an actor or an actress. Now that may be a desire that you have always wanted, or something that truly calls to you and you're willing to sacrifice everything basically to fulfill that dream. But maybe a part of you doesn't fully respect it, even though you're doing the actions to go chase after it, to go to the auditions, to take the classes, to expand your skill set, to take smaller roles, to do some unpaid work. Even though you're doing all the actions, if your belief isn't fully there, then that's a block. You may be doing all the right actions, but if you believe that acting is a waste of time, acting is a job for people who don't actually want to work, it's just for people who want to make money just doing play. If these are beliefs that were instilled in you as a child, maybe from your parents or your family or relatives or friends or your teachers or something like that, somehow it got into your mind, that's something that may be blocking your progress. So think about your desire. Is there anything about it that you don't respect? Is there anything about it that you're embarrassed by? Is there anything about it that holds you back from wanting to share your dream with other people? So think about that, because that may be a block that is impeding your ability to attract that into your life. One of the really big blocks that tends to get us all caught up, even when we're doing the right things energetically and putting in the right belief systems, one of the blocks that tends to make us stumble, is feeling like we need to do something to make our desire happen, feeling like we need to do an action. And I feel like this portion is a little bit controversial in the law of attraction community. Some very famous and popular law of attraction teachers say you can't just sit on your couch, visualize, and expect something to come to you, expect your desire to come to you. You have to actually go out there and act. And I would say that is not entirely true. Yes, you actually can just sit on your couch and visualize and bring something to you. Now, is that really the fastest approach? No. But is it something that can draw your desire to you? Yes. And you can draw big desires that way, and I know from personal experience. But I want to take that conversation and kind of take us another level. So a lot of times our block is that we feel like we need to be doing something. We feel like we need to be acting. We've set out this intention. Why isn't it happening? What should I be doing? Higher self, tell me, like, what do I need to do? God, tell me, like, what's my next step? We're always trying to figure out what is my next step. When really we just need to sit back, we just need to relax, we need to appreciate the fact that we've put our intention out there, we need to trust the guidance and not ask, what is our next step? We don't need to be thinking about that, because when the next step is needed, you will automatically want to do it. It will feel good. You feel excited. You feel like, I want to go here. I want to talk to this person. I want to try this one thing that I've never tried before. You will feel happy. You'll feel good, and you'll just automatically be on your way. That is the action that is needed. That is what you need to be doing. So don't get too caught up on, what is my next step? What am I supposed to do? I need to do something to make this happen. What is it? Don't get caught up on that. Just allow yourself the time and allow the universe some space to be able to create the next steps for you and pull you along that path. And if you really need to do something, if you really feel like you have some idle hands that you need to put to work, then do something very simple. Just do the next step that you can think of, whether it's small or big. If you are trying to attract a new job, maybe send out a few applications. Just do that next step that seems really obvious, but really it's to bide the time, and it's maybe to open up a few extra doors that the universe can work through. But ultimately you're waiting for that inspired gut interest reaction where you were drawn towards that action. Another really common block has to do with time, where we not only need our desire to happen, which is the obsession block that we talked about first in this video, but we also need it to happen right now, right in this moment. Why isn't it here right now? So the thing about that is, when we need something to happen right now, it pulls our mentality and our subconscious focuses on the fact that it's not here. And whatever your subconscious focuses on is what it starts to create. It's not here, it's not here, it's not here. And that is basically what you're putting out into the universe. Bring me more of it's not here. So that's one of the reasons why you really need to work on this block. So the way to work on that is, one, focus on reasons, again, like with the obsession. block that we talked about, focus on reasons why everything is okay right now. You are able to live without your desire because you've been living without your desire. So you can live another day, you can live another month. And you know that you have overcome this time block when you could tell yourself, I can live without this for the rest of my life, or I can live without this for 3 years. And you truly know that that's true. Like, you don't have any resistance. You're not lying to yourself when you tell yourself that. That's when you know that you've let go of this block. So how can you let go of this block? What are some tips? So I mentioned this in other videos, but basically think about what you want and then think about reasons why it's a good thing that it's not here right now. Think about reasons why it's a good thing that it's going to be happening later on in the future. Make peace with the fact that it's not here right now. So if you were wanting to get a promotion, maybe right now is not a really good time. Maybe you actually would prefer that promotion 6 months down the road because maybe right now you are really busy. Maybe there's a lot going on in your family. Maybe you're trying to plan a wedding. Maybe, this just isn't really the right time. Maybe you're in the middle of a pandemic and having a higher salary might not be the best choice at this point in time when there's a lot of people being let go and being put on furlough. It might be better to be paid a little bit less at this current point in time. So find reasons why it's okay, why it's actually better that you don't currently have your desire in this moment. And I want to give you an example of something that came up with one of my clients. So about a year ago, I was doing a reading for one of my clients. They were waiting on their EAD card so that they could be able to work in the United States. And they already had a job offer, but they were just waiting for this EAD card to get finalized. And they kept seeing, they had a number, what their number was, and they kept seeing people with numbers before theirs and people with numbers after theirs getting accepted, getting their cards. And yet his number was not moving, like he was just not receiving his card. So he asked me, he's like, hey, when am I going to get this card, and can you speed this up for me, Trishna? So I looked into it and I told him the date, and I arrived on that date. And I also told him, he kept following up with me saying like, hey, can you speed this up? Can you speed this up? I know it's this date that you told me, but like, can you make it earlier? And I said, no, because you don't want that. Because divine timing is here and it is on your side. Because when I looked into it intuitively, I saw, you know what? Like, if he got the job offer right now, he got the offer, but if he got the card right now and moved out to California where the job was and started working, he would have a really difficult time. His job would actually be in jeopardy because there is a person that is going to be in his vicinity, not directly in his team, but in his department, who is going to try to get him fired or try to create issues with him so that he looks bad at work. And if he is forced to wait a few weeks, that person is somehow going to be removed from the situation, at least temporarily, and will no longer be able to have power over him when they're back in the situation. And you know what? That is exactly what happened. He followed up with me just recently, actually, saying that, you know what, there was this person at the office and the timing was perfect because they have tried to get people fired before, and they eventually tried to do that for me as well. But when I started, because I was delayed, I started like a week before that person had to go on vacation for 2 months. So I was able to build up my credibility within the company and in my department for those 2 months. So when that person came back and started trying to create trouble for me, they couldn't say anything. I was able to prove them on every account. I knew exactly what I was talking about. And now that person basically can't bother me and no longer even tries. So divine timing is here. Please, please, please trust that. Yes, sometimes there are blocks in our way, but a lot of times there's also divine timing at play, and you need to trust that and know that, and trust that God and the universe and spirit and your higher self has your best interests at heart and wants you to have everything that you want to have. But they want you to have it when it's actually going to work out, when it's actually here to stay. If that client had gotten his job and started when he wanted to start, he might not still have that job, right? He wanted that job, but the universe is trying to create a situation where it was actually going to last. It wasn't going to be this, you have it and then it's gone. So timing is really, really important. So if that is a block of yours, I highly recommend that you work on releasing that as well. And another block that comes up whenever we're trying to manifest anything is sometimes our ego comes into play, and our ego feels like what we want is supposed to happen on a certain path or in a certain way, either because that's the only potential that we see, which, remember, we are at a lower dimensional level than the universe and our higher selves, which can see all the possibilities. Our brain can only see just a few possibilities. It can't see the infinite number. So we may think that that is the only way that it can happen, or we may feel better if it happens a certain way. And this is something that relates to me right now. So I'm currently working in sales, and I really enjoy my job and been having a lot of success. And I've made some sales, and the only thing though is that they all came to me through the law of attraction, and I wanted to be the one that went out and got it myself. I wanted to be the one that had that phone call and was able to have conversations, set up meetings, and show the value to the customer myself and pull them in and sign them on that way. But essentially, it's come through all these other avenues, all these sales. They've either come through somebody coming to our company and um, saying that they're interested in our service, and then because it's within my territory, it often gets assigned to me. Or I did land one of the biggest accounts at our company. I did a lot of work in my first 3 months on the job to basically prove myself and show my value and my skill set, and that I'm a problem solver. And then I also, of course, use the law of attraction, and those two things together allow me to land one of the biggest accounts within my first 3 months. That probably normally should have gone to another senior level person versus me, who's brand new and also not one of the more senior people. So, and through that, I'm getting sales pay, and then also I'm getting so many more opportunities to sell to that customer as well. So my ego wants it to be me. It wants me to have been the one that went from point A all the way to the end. But that's not how it's happening for me, because the universe is like, well, what do you really want, Trishna? You want the dollars, right? You want the sales. Or do you want to go through the grind, the slow grind? So keep that in mind as you're trying to manifest your desires. How is your ego getting in the way? How are you trying to shape how something needs to happen? Because it's not really up to you. And that's actually to your advantage, because the universe is going to try to find the path of least resistance. It's going to try to find the easiest way that it can get you from point A to point B, and that's probably going to be a hell of a lot easier than how you're imagining it to be. So just kind of take a check on your ego and where it's at, and don't allow that to influence your manifestations. And finally, the seventh major block is lack of clarity on our situation and what the block may actually be. Sometimes we get caught up in, I've been putting out my desire to get this, and I don't know why it isn't here. There must be something that is in my way, but I can't figure out what that block is. And so that's something that I want to go into more depth in another video. I want to talk to you about what are some of the really, like, what are some techniques on how to identify what those blocks are, so that you can finally find it and you can release it, and you can bring whatever it is that you would like into your life that much faster again. So that is another block, but I want to devote another video to that, because that has like another five different ways to identify what your blocks are, and it would make this video much too long. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave me a like and a subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.